Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Bream Fishing Project. This week, we are on the Gold Coast in the Hobies to fish the TT Round 6 of the Hobie Kayak Fishing Series 16, which was held on the 9th and 10th of August in 2025. Now, usually, I love this round, and I want to get up there and experience some warm weather and some great fishing in the middle of the year. And every year I've been up there, it has been almost stunning with barely a bad day. This year, unfortunately, I wasn't able to make the trip up there. And guess what? The boys got smashed. I don't know what that means, but anyway, it definitely made for an interesting competition. All right, let's roll the intros and I'll tell you what went on up there.
Welcome to the Bream Fishing Project. This is where you need to be every Tuesday to find out all the latest tips and tricks to help you target bream on lures. You'll get to hear from some of Australia's elite bream competition anglers and see how they were able to achieve their results in competitions around the country. Now, here is your host, the 2019 Hobie Kayak Fishing World Champion, Andrew Deeth.
All right. So with this one, like I said in the intro there, tricky conditions. They had shortened arenas. They had to dial back where the fish guys were allowed to fish. And on the Sunday, they shortened the day by an hour, which sometimes is nice if you're fishing these comps. You finish up an hour early and get on the road an hour earlier. How good is that? All right. However, all those things aside, a great round. And as you'll hear from the interviews, tricky conditions, but good fish caught. Let's run through the bite periods and what have you, and then I'll run through the division winners for this competition. So on the Saturday, we had 97 in the fish activity wheel. Minor bite period was just before the competition at 5:29 a.m. through to 6:59. The major bite period was at 10:25 a.m. through to 12:55 p.m. High tide was at 7:49 at 1.3, running down to a low tide at 1:34 p.m. at 0.23. On the Sunday, we had 94, so still fantastic in terms of the fish activity. Minor bite period was at 6:07 a.m. through to 7:37. Major bite period was at 11:16 through to 1:46 p.m. with a high tide at 8:30 at 1.36, running down to a low just after the end of play at 2:16 at 0.2. Okay, so we ended up having 47 in this with all but, I'd say, 4 people catching fish. So the fishing conditions were good despite challenging weather conditions. The big bream winner went to Andrew Krushka at 0.78. It says Andrew's out of Western Australia, but I'm pretty sure he comes from Tasmania. The monster mover was Bikrak Gurung at 1.72 on day 2, coming from a donut on day 1. So he was able to take out monster mover with that. The youth division went once again to Riley Whelan, and he weighed a pretty legitimate bag of 6 fish for 2.26. Greg Cooper from Western Australia, he took out the Masters with 0.273, which left him in 15th place. And the first-time competitors, another one I'm probably going to get the name wrong, as Travis something. He weighed his 6 fish for 2.02. Somebody will have to correct me on that. All in all, great comp. And in the other division, which I think I've forgotten for a couple, is the Batman and Robin division. So for those of you who don't know, Tony Petty and Simon Morley are both team anglers out of Hurricane Lures. And for a long time, they were kind of nicknamed Batman and Robin. And that's led on to a bit of a friendly rivalry where whoever takes the highest spot in a comp gets to be Batman. Anyway, Tony didn't fish this one, but I think with Simon taking it out that, yeah, Simon has firmly cemented himself as Batman after this one. Good to see Simon on top, and I'll tell you why at the end. All right, let's get into the angler interviews. Okay, so first up, coming in third place, I have an angler dropping his 3 fish for 1.39 on the Saturday, backing it up on the Sunday with a much bigger bag of 1.94, giving him a total of 6 fish for 3.33, just a mere 10 grams ahead of Luke Rogan. I have Stephen Maas. Welcome to the show, mate.
Thanks, Andrew. Pleasure to be here.
Mate, absolutely. And like leading into this comp, Luke has been on fire so much. I'm not surprised he's in 4th or, right up there. He's definitely got the place dialed in.
Yeah, he was certainly always going to be at the top. It was no surprise on day 1, when he was coming in 2nd, I think.
Yeah. And that was with the altered arena. He couldn't go to his normal spots. So
yeah, it was. But Luke's the kind of guy, he knows where every big fish on the Gold Coast lives. So you can't really keep him out of a spot and expect that he's going to have a bad day.
That's right. All right, mate. Tell us, leading into the comp. So we haven't seen you for a while. Tell us about leading into pre-fish. Have you fished much, or have you had a chance to get out?
Not bream fishing, Andrew. I have catching a few snapper and flathead. Bought myself a boat, so I haven't been in the kayak since the last Gold Coast round. So
Right.
quite literally twice in 2 years in the kayak,
Yep.
both for tournaments. I did go 2 weeks before in the boat. I took my good mate Steve Crawley out. We thought, we're getting on a bit. We need to save our legs. Let's take the boat instead of the kayaks.
Fair enough.
Pretty much just stuck to the game plan, what we would have done in the kayaks anyway.
Yep.
Had a bit of fun more than anything, and we ended up finding fish, so a bit of a bonus.
Yeah, okay. Very good. Very good. In terms of patterns, did you work anything out?
We just stuck to pretty much what we know works on the Gold Coast, light plastics, crankbaits, crabs, and then stuck to the normal spots, the bridges, pontoons and canals that have done well for us in the past. So we just hit those spots and, found fish. So that gave us both confidence. At that point, I hadn't committed to entering yet, but Steve caught some really good fish in some spots that we both know. So, so signed up and gave it a go.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Well, every time I've been to the Gold Coast, I've done, I think, maybe 5 comps. The weather's been perfect. That was not the case for this one. You started off with pretty rough conditions. Tell us about your day.
I think, that's about everyone was watching the forecast all week, and it was up to like 40, 45 knots at one point predicted. The tournament director done a smart move in narrowing that zone so we couldn't go north for the event. You quite literally, you wouldn't have got back from up there. It would have taken you hours. If you got up there, the risk of not getting back far outweighed having it open. So, that was a good call from Hobie. It did mess with a lot of people's game plans. I think obviously those people that were going to go north, but then I didn't know where I was going to go. Literally from the start line, I didn't know whether I was going to go to the reefs out the front of the Gold Coast, head north, or just play it safe and stay out of the weather and go up the Nerang River.
Yeah, right. So basically then, did you make the decision on the start line?
Pretty much. I had a fair idea that I wasn't going to go north into the breeze. There was a restricted area. We could have gone up a couple kilometres, but I wasn't going to waste time trying to fight it to come back. So, I just went into a little bit of breeze, but protection from all the Gold Coast buildings. So it wasn't too bad. We had the tide going upriver as well. So that was the easiest decision, was going with the tide and then fishing my way up. Tide would change and then fish my way back.
Tell us about your first fish. What was the first fish you put in the well?
So I went up the Nerang River. My legs were absolutely cooked after about 10 minutes. Like I said, I hadn't been in the kayak, so certainly not fit. I didn't feel sore, just my legs didn't want to move, so it just cramped up. Once I got through that, I stopped at the bridge, so that's a good 30-minute pedal away. That's where one of the pre-fish spots where Steve caught good fish. Just about every pylon had a good fish on it. We got there and it was absolutely dead. There was probably 10 kayaks all stopped there and 10 kayaks all left within a minute. There was not one fish landed.
Wow.
I had the idea of maybe for the for the comp day one, go there, fish, and just sit there all day. But it took me a minute to figure out these fish aren't here. I didn't have a sounder on the kayak. I didn't worry about it. But it didn't feel right. So, I just pushed up river, tried a few other spots on the way up, probably another kilometre. I didn't panic, but I just knew that I've just got to go and get a bag of fish. So I went in the first little sandy canal that I know of. Quite literally found fish. They were all on the left-hand side. Every pontoon had a fish on it. So they're all like 26 tippers to start. So I thought, let's just put those in the well, get the confidence going, and then they slowly got bigger. 26s turned to 27s and 28s and so on. So it was good just to get a bag of fish under the belt. Within literally half an hour, I had a dozen or more legal fish.
Wow. What are you targeting them with? You're on crankers or?
They were all on soft plastic. So things through aquas first, unweighted, just on a worm hook. I didn't see any fish rolling under the pontoon. So I thought, right, I was getting fish on those, but let's go a little bit deeper. So I started throwing crabbies on 150th and then up to 128th jig heads when the breeze picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Continue to get bites. So I just tried plastics. Tried surface for a little bit. I didn't get any action on surface. Tried cranks. I got smaller fish on cranks and nothing real big. So just persisted on getting those and ended up getting, I think, 132 forker, I think, and a couple small ones from that that particular canal.
Right, okay. Well, it sounds like a pretty good start. Apart from the bridge not firing, you've got a bag pretty quick and a bunch of upgrades.
Yeah, good start, perfect start. And then I thought, right, we've still got plenty of time. Let's go looking for 2 more upgrades. And then just headed upriver, just casting at random pontoons on the way up,
Mhm.
up to another stretch where I haven't fished ever before, but it looked good on that pre-fish day. I saw fish on those pontoons, still in the main river, but on the sort of a shallower side. And just used the kayak. What I used to do back in the day, 10, 15 years ago on the kayak, was really specialise in sneaking in behind the pontoons where boats and things can't get.
Yeah, right.
So lay everything down flat, get down low and get right in behind the pontoons. It's really close quarters. You really got to get those fish, especially if there's posts in the water, get them coming in fast and hard. So as soon as you see a tick on the line, just crank it in. So stuck with that and I ended up getting my 2 upgrades like that. So I had a bag of 30 forkers.
Yeah, okay. That sounds like a lot of fun to me. Close quarters, ripping their heads off and, it's either you or them, I guess.
It is, even though they're only small fish, because you're only fishing in maybe a foot of water on the back of those pontoons, you've got bubbles fishing 3 and 4 pound leaders, so quite light. If they go left or instead of going right or vice versa, they've got you around a pole and it's all over. So it was a good weekend. I didn't lose any fish to busts off or anything like that. So they all played the game nicely.
Yeah, right. Wow. That sums up your day one pretty well. You ended up with 1 point.
That's pretty well. I didn't go too much further up there and I sort of ticked along. I didn't get any more upgrades after that. Plenty of fish afterwards, but yeah, no upgrades. I thought I might have been sitting up around the 1.5 mark with those fish. They were still fat, but came in, I think, at 1.39. So close. I was happy with that. Certainly happy with that. Sat me in, I think, about 15th for the day.
Yeah, right. Well, that was a decent jump then to come up into third. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us about Sunday. So, obviously, you've got decent upgrade in fish. Tell us about how that played out and if there's any sort of differences.
Day 2. So, I had a good hour's drive either side, going home and coming back to have a good think about it. And it was quite easy decision. My legs were feeling good by that stage. So I figured if I can get in the kayak in the morning and they feel good right from the start, I'll just go. So I pedalled, it's about 12 kilometres straight without stopping, without casting, just went hour and a half. It took me to get up there with the tide.
Wow. What kayak are you in?
I'm on an old, I think it's about a 2016 model Hobie Outback. Just ticks along nicely. The tide had a good run to it, so we were doing like 7 or 8 k's an hour, so it wasn't too bad. And I chose a spot that I've caught all my big fish on the Gold Coast, called Lake Intrepid. It's up behind the casino, like head south from the start line. It's up behind the casino. Fair run. I'm sure I passed, I don't know how many fish I would have passed on the way. And, you're covering that much water, you wonder whether it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it was. So put in the first 3 casts, got my bag.
In 3 cars?
Yeah.
That's hectic.
It was an unbelievable day, Andrew. You wouldn't believe me if I told you, but literally just about every cast caught a fish.
Wow. Wow, that's insane.
A good fish. There might have been one undersize out of the whole day.
Yeah, wow. And sort of similar patterns in terms of lures and what have you?
Started the day with the same. Got my first 3 fish on aquas. It's a stretch of canals where it's like little holiday units, and I know people are always there feeding fish bread and stuff like that. So you just launch aquas in the middle of nowhere. They can be up on the beach. They don't have to be near pontoons or anything, just as if it's someone throwing bread on the beach. And yeah, the fish just love it. They pick them up and just watch your line race away. So much fun.
Yeah, definitely. You said just a minute ago that you didn't really lose any fish over the weekend. Is that still accurate?
Yeah, the only fish I saw like short strikes and they weren't big fish. So, like no big fish busted me up or anything like that. Just the short ones that missed, small fish that missed the hooks, which I'm not too worried about. You can tell it's not going to cost you the game or anything.
No.
You're only playing off little fiddlers. So.
No. And so you started off with aquas and what have you. Did you mix it up?
So then the same as I did the first day, when aquas first, got my bag, and then I thought, right, let's try something different. The next set of pontoons after that, I threw gulp crabbies on. That was back to the 128 hidden weight, just so I could punch a cast into the wind. And then same, just fish one after the other. Not big fish then yet until I came back into the main main part of the river again where there's a bit more current.
Okay.
And then, yeah, it was game on.
Oh, very good. Very good. In terms of upgrading, I assume you must have upgraded a couple of times throughout the day.
Upgrades from that point on for the next, I reckon, 2 hours, quite literally every pontoon, each end of the pontoon, they're quite long, like 7 or 8 metre long pontoons. And I was getting 2 fish. Normally you only get like 1 fish of a pontoon and you shut it down. These are quite easily to get 2 off each pontoon. So I was getting, 30, 34, 30 tippers at first, and then they sort of upgraded those all up to 30 forkers. Yeah, just a magic day.
Yeah, that's great. So then did that kind of round out your bag then? Or did you get any upgrades late in the day?
Up to that point, it was still early. It was only maybe 9 o'clock, something like that, super early. My stepdaughter had an open day at the university up here, so I called my wife just to check in, make sure they got there and doing the right thing, and have, how it is. And then gave her a call, said, "How you going? Did you get there safely?" And she asked how I'm going. Yep, got my fish. I got my bag upgraded then, and she said, "Right, you got to catch a big one." So quite literally, the next cast put in and pulled a 37 forker. Very next cast, and he swam straight out. I know knew he was big. He was heavy. He swam out, played up under the kayak for a bit, and just fell nicely in the net. Didn't do anything wrong. So put him in the live well, upgraded. It was probably still like a 28 forker to a 37 forker.
Wow, big upgrade.
Massive upgrade. So called my wife back straight away and said, "Guess what? I just did it. I just caught a big one." that was the kicker that was the kicker I needed. And she's exact words were, "Go on, catch his mate." And you're not going to believe it, Andrew, but the very next cast on the same pontoon, his mate came out and got him. He played up a lot though. He came out like it was a trally or something. He got back in. He must have been close to the back posts on the pontoon. So I just used the kayak and let him out. Didn't turn the reel, just let him out into deeper water. I knew there was nothing out there he could have got me on. So lead him out, wear him out, and he just came up gently again, and there he was. Pigeon paired to that other one.
Yeah, wow, that's fantastic.
So yeah, did the right.
Yeah, big upgrades.
Did the right thing, called my wife back again and said, I've just done it again. And yeah, she said, right, 3 times then. But yeah, by that time, yeah, it was getting on a little bit then. And I hadn't even got to the spot where I wanted to fish in the actual Lake Intrepid itself, where big fish sort of hang. I just hadn't got there yet. It was still 500 metres away yet. So I caught a few more 30s after that and sort of made my way around to that spot. And it was dead. There was nothing on that side. And it was like day one where everything was on the left-hand side of the canal. Day two was the same. They were all on that side into the wind on the choppy bank. So
yeah, okay. Interesting. That's an interesting observation.
There's a good trick for anyone out there. Yeah, fish the banks that have got wind blowing on them and really churned up. It wasn't comfortable. It was by no means comfortable to fish. It was very hard to fish, but they were all there.
Wow. Well, there you go. There you go. So the long paddle paid off.
Yeah, by then it was good. I was sort of happy with those first lot of fish. I knew I'd like the 34 because I knew I had similar to day one, 1.3. Might have snuck me up into like the top 10 and I would have been happy with that. But once I got the first one and then obviously the second one, so I'm in the good running here to go right up. So I was still trying. Actual tournament day got cut short by an hour because of a predicted wind forecast coming through. So it would have been nice to have an extra hour. I reckon I probably would have backed myself to get that third big fish, which I don't know whether I would have caught Simon, but certainly would have jumped up by another couple 100 grams anyway.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, there you go. But I guess at that point it was time to make the long paddle back.
It was. I sort of kept an eye on the clock on the way up. It took me just making note of where I was at like an hour mark, hour and a half, things like that, how long it took me from the main river up to that spot. Taking note of how fast I was sort of pedaling. I knew I was going pretty hard for the first hour, so I had to replicate that on the way back. Just little tricks like that for any young kids out there. Just keep an eye. You don't want to turn up late back to the way. I've done it before and it doesn't feel nice. So just keep an eye on how far you travelled and how hard you pushed yourself and how hard you need to go to get back. That's the main thing to keep an eye on.
And in terms of getting back, what was your time frame? Like, were you a couple of minutes early or how was that?
I was still half an hour back early. I always give myself add an extra half an hour. You just don't know whether something's going to break down or the wind could have been a different direction coming around the last corner or something like that. And it turned out the wind didn't quite come up as strong as what they said just yet. It was still later in the afternoon.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, just gave myself a bit more. And by the time I knew I got to the bridge, I knew that was 20 minutes of a hard pedal. And I got back with like 40 minutes to the bridge. So, yeah, I pretty much just used the wind and the tide to take me back most of the way and just looked after the fish, gave them plenty of fresh water and made sure I was right too and gave myself plenty of water and food too. At that point, I had time to have a break. So
very good, mate. Well, mate, it was enough to jump you up a long way up in the third spot. In terms of prize packs and what have you, what do you get to take home?
that was a nice bit of cash, sort of covered the entry and fuel and everything like that for the weekends. Prize packs are always good. There's not a lot in them that I like to use, but they certainly come in handy. I'm not going to throw them away or anything, but various jig heads, soft plastics, crankbaits, bits and pieces. I don't know, probably to the retail value of maybe $500 worth or something.
Yeah, wow. So solid.
So it sort of tops up the kit, and it's the kind of thing where I've done it a few times. If you see a kid at the way and you don't mind flicking a bit of gear to them or filling up my own kids' tackle boxes, stuff like that.
Absolutely. All right, mate. Well, look, last thing before we shoot off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Certainly my wife. She's the one that's given me a good push lately to do the things you love. You never guaranteed tomorrow, so you might as well give it a go. So definitely for Sharon for giving me a good go. And then all the Queensland guys, I haven't fished for 12 months in these comps, but you go and meet these guys at the comps and they're so awesome. There's always a hug or a solid handshake from everybody. It's good to see them. Steersy helped me a lot this weekend. He didn't actually give me any product to use, but Steersy from Cranker Lures, he's looked after me for nearly 15 years now. And on and off the water, we're more like you give him a call and we don't hardly talk about anything else but family and what's going on. It's not about the fishing anymore. We've become more mates and just what lures we're throwing. So it's always good having Steersy's support. I use his crabs actually mostly to get all those bigger fish on day 2. So
yeah, okay.
Couldn't have done that without him.
Absolutely. And in terms of up there, just a quick question on that. Are you using lights or heavies?
That was the lights. There was probably, I should go back to that actually, sorry, but there was probably 20 knots of breeze slapping that bank. So what I was using was the light, I was thinking of the colour, I think it was the Muddy Fiddler. It was like the orange and purple, shiny chrome coloured one.
Yeah, okay.
I've done a ride on that one. It works good on those sandy, shallow areas. So I was lining up my drift, using the wind to my advantage. So instead of banging in the crab into the pontoons and spook everything, as long as I could cast within a metre of the pontoon, I was lifting the rod up high and letting the wind grab the line, and then that would drag the lure into the pontoon and then just drop the rod, let everything sink then. So use that wind to your advantage instead of the wind catching the lure and giving you a bad day when you throw up onto the carpet and things like that or tangle up in ropes.
Yeah.
Just use that wind, and it was working perfect. Every pontoon was the same, and just took a bit of time to get yourself in the right position before you made the cast.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a very cool technique. And in all the podcasts I've done, I don't think I've heard anyone mention that colour. So there you go.
Yeah, it's probably in my top 3 favourites. It's not all about olive crabs for me. It's olives up there, but there's cockle crabs probably my favourite, and then the muddy fiddler one's pretty close too.
Yeah. Oh, mate, that's cool. That's a great way to round out the interview, I reckon.
No worries at all. Always happy to help, especially if I can help any young guys or new guys to the sport. It's always a pleasure to help other people out.
Absolutely, mate. All right. Well, look, congratulations again, and hopefully we might see you at a grand final at some point.
Yeah, hopefully. Pretty sure I got a ticket to wherever it is. It would be good if it's on the Gold Coast again, but I don't think we're going to be that lucky.
Yep, I don't think that's on the menu at the moment, but yes, I take your point.
Yeah, no, I'll be back, and I'll certainly be at more events. It's good to have the fishing bug back, and yeah, life's pretty good. I'm enjoying fishing again.
Very good, mate. Very good. All right, mate. Well, congrats on being up there, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks very much for having me, Andrew. Pleasure.
Okay, so next up in second place, we have an angler dropping 3 fish for 1.44 on the Saturday, backing it up on the Sunday with a 3 fish for 1.96, giving him a total of 3.4 kilos. And second place, I have Andrew Krushka. Welcome to the show, mate.
Thanks, Stacey. Thanks for having us.
Mate, no problem at all, mate. Good effort to fly up from Tassie or however you got there, I assume fly, and take a place out on the Gold Coast round.
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise, the finish, but yeah, Sunday was a good day. So even though I didn't really know what I had at the going to the weigh-in.
Yeah, mate, it was a good bag on the Sunday. Would have been cheering to see that ramp up.
Yeah, I was. I knew I had a couple of pretty good fish in there, but yeah, like I couldn't find my ruler, so I wasn't measuring anything. So a little bit of guesswork.
And the bigger one, actually, so you don't know how long it was. So it was just under a kilo. So it's probably like a 34 forker or something like that.
Yeah. I know he laid I laid him on the hatch, and yeah, I think they're around 33 to one of the seams or something, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. And where'd your kayak come from? Was it Sun State or Hobie? Or?
Yeah, Sun State.
Sun State. Good on those guys. Very good. All right, mate. Tell us about pre-fish. Were you able to get up there on Friday and have a look around?
Flew in Thursday night, so we didn't get in till late. Then Friday morning, it was pretty casual. I went down and got the kayak about 8, and it was it didn't seem too bad, the weather. So I went and grabbed my gear. Unfortunately, by the time I got down, the wind had picked up and it wasn't all that flash. So I loaded the kayak up, and I think I got to the playground just going south, and I had 2 waves go over the front, one over the side. I was soaking wet. So I turned around and went back. And that was my pre-fish.
That's an epic pre-fish, mate. Just go out, get wet, go home.
Yeah. Went and put the kayak back in the trailer and, went home.
Fair enough. And what kayak was it?
Compass.
Compass. Okay. All right. So you would have been proper wet.
Yeah, I was.
Nice. Okay.
I'd done a fair bit of I'd listened to a lot of your podcasts and I'd watched a lot of Morgo's highlights and that. And and I'd been up that last year. I went up and I pretty much knew what I was going to do. Like originally I wanted to go to Sovereign Island, but when I seen the weather, it was, I decided that wasn't the best option. So, and then I think it was out of bounds anyway. So
that's right. It's out of bounds and it's a hike. Like it's a long way up there. And if it's windy, it doesn't matter which way it's blowing. You're going into it one way or the other.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. There you go. All right. So you hit the water on Saturday.
Yep.
You haven't really had a pre-fish. Tell us how your day went.
Went all right. So it was the weather was pretty good Saturday morning. There was a little bit of wind, but it wasn't bad. And I decided to just take the 3 rods because didn't have heaps of room. So I had them rigged up with what I thought I'd use, which was pretty much what I did use. And it was pretty easy going. I think I was sitting on about 8.5 Ks an hour, like when we got into the main river, because we had had the tide coming in, and I paddled to, I'm not sure what the bridge is called. It's up near Chevron Reserve. There's a bridge you go up, instead of going up the main river, you go up to the right side. I just kind of pulled up there to get my drink bottle out and had a couple of casts at the bridge there while I was there with a crab, and I think it was the second cast. I got a 28 forker, so that was a pretty good start.
Yeah, it's not bad for up there.
No, and it wasn't super fat. He was a bit skinny, but and then I kept heading up one of the canals up the side, and I was throwing an aqua then, and I got a couple undersized brim, but pretty much the whole way through the canal, I didn't get illegal. So by the time I got to I think is it the Bundle Bridge?
It might be. I'm looking it up as we speak.
It's a fair way up. I only had the one fish, and I pulled up at the bridge there and had a few casts, and then I got I think it was a 26 tipper, so it was just legal. And then I got another 28 fork. So I had my bag on the bridge, and then I fished the bridge for probably 20 minutes or so. But I didn't get another fish or another bite. So when the tide started to head out, I thought I'd head back down the channel that I come up and just throwing aquas at the pontoons. And I pretty much did that all the way, and I slowly upgraded, like it was half a centimetre at a time. And by the time I'd got out of the canal and that, I think I had probably 3 28s in my bag. And by that time it was getting on a bit. So my plan was to then leave there and go down to the Sundale Bridge and basically sit it out there and see how it goes. But I picked up a couple of more undersized ones off the bridge, and then I thought I'd actually hooked a half decent brim. Then I thought it was a flathead, and then I got a look and it was silver, and I was pretty confident there was a good fish. And when I put the net under it, was actually a tarwine. So
Oh, no.
I think I'm measuring, he was about 34 fork, so he was a good solid fish, but that was pretty much it. I probably only caught 6 or 7 fish, legal fish for the day. I got a few undersized, but legals. And I was just, that couple of 28s early and then just upgrading that smaller one all day. That was pretty much my bag.
That was you. And it sounds like you got most of your fish on the aqua. Is that right?
My 2 keepers, the first 2 come on the crabs, and then most, like the other ones, were on the aquas, just unweighted aqua on a worm hook.
Okay. And on the same one that Morgo uses?
No, I think it's the pinky what colour one. Is it king prawn or?
No. Sorry, I meant that's good too. That's the colour, but the hook, was it the same hook?
The Van Hook hooks. Yeah, same hooks.
Yeah, okay. And on a pink one. Well, there you go. And it's interesting because I spoke to Steve just the other day about this, and the main reason he uses white is so that he can see it more than anything else.
Yeah. I just thought something a little bit different than the white, but yeah, that was the one that seemed to be working for me.
Fair enough. Did you drop any big fish over the day?
On the way up, I got busted off on one of the pontoons, and it was one of the few fish that I actually thought might have been a bit decent, but I really don't know if he was that big. He might have just rubbed me off on the pontoon, or I'm not 100% sure, but no, not really.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, look, it was enough to bring you back with 1.44. Whereabouts have you overnight?
13th, I think.
Yeah, okay. So just out of the top 10.
Yep.
And about probably, just maybe 350 grams off the pace. So not too bad, really. Like 350 grams, you definitely make that up.
Yeah.
All right. What was the plan for Sunday? Do you rinse and repeat, or do you try something different?
No, I thought I'd try something different. So the bridge that I caught the first one off, well, basically second cast for the day on Saturday, I come back and I'd give that I worked that for probably 15, 20 minutes and didn't get a bite. So I decided to go up the actual river, the Nerang, to the left. And there's I don't know what the bridge is called, but it's like the main bridge, the first one you come to. And I thought I'd see how I went on that. So there was no one else there, no one else fishing it. So I fished it. I spent probably an hour there and didn't get a bite. So that wasn't going too well. So then I decided to head back to the same canal, which kind of winds its way and comes out just below the Bundle Bridge. I went through that canal system, and I think I had one bite where I grabbed the aqua, and as I do sometimes, he just didn't hook up. So not sure what time it was, but it was probably, getting close to 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I didn't have a fish. So I was getting a bit nervous. I didn't have a lot of confidence that the bridge would have fish, but I went to the bridge and, I think I was only there about 5 minutes, and I got I think it was a 27 fork or something like that. Might have been a bit, I didn't really know because that was when I realised I couldn't find my ruler. So I was.
Ruler was missing?
Yeah, the ruler was, I knew I had it there somewhere, but I just couldn't find it. So I knew it was big enough. I knew it was legal, and I put him in the well, and I pretty much went straight back out. And I think it was like second cast was when I got my big brim.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I knew he was right, and I just basically put him straight in the live well. Then I went quiet for a little bit, but I sat there for a while, and then I got another one. He was a little bit smaller, but I reckon he was around that, 27, 28 fork mark. And then it quietened right off. I didn't get another bite, so I decided that I'd go to the casino because I'd talked about it the day before but didn't do it. And so, I headed to the casino, and I wanted to fish the bridge there because I'd fished that before, and there was a couple other spots. And when I got there was someone on the bridge, but they were on the far side. So I fished the other side and got a couple of small ones. I don't reckon they were even legal, but that was it. I didn't get anything else after that. So I headed back to the main river with the plan of just working, fishing the main river and fishing pontoons, on the way back. So at that point, I knew I had a little bit better bag than the day before, not much. And that's what I did. And I didn't have any luck until I got nearly down to the school, I think. So there's some pontoons back up from the school. And I thought, most people I could see were on the other side, I guess because the wind and that was pushing in on the side I was at. So, yeah, I had a few casts, but what I found, because the current was running so hard, the aqua was actually sticking on the front of the pontoon and not going under it.
Right. Okay.
And I was drifting pretty quick because I had the current and the wind. And so I just kind of spun round and I only had about 3 pontoons to fish. And I just clipped a bit of just a split shot onto the bottom of the hook on the worm hook because I had a couple of them there. And put that in, and I think it was nearly the first cast with that. It went in under, and I loaded up on the fish and pulled the hooks. Then I got to the next pontoon, same deal, put it in underneath and loaded up, and that was when I got the next. I think he would have been over maybe 30 fork, 31 fork, or
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So he was a good upgrade for what I had there, anyway.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So. And then I was debating, I was starting to run out of time whether I should go back up and start again. And I was looking at my watch and opted to just go back to the bridge. But there was a few more people on the bridge this time. So, yeah, I just, it was a shorter day. So we're finishing at 1.
That's right. But do you have the wind behind you on the way home?
Yeah, wind and current. So, but even then, by the time I got back, it was like, I think it was about 1:15. So,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Tell me the big brim that you got, the kicker. What'd you get it on?
Olive cranker crab.
On a cranker crab.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was just basically letting it sink to the bottom and waiting for it to load up?
No, I was fishing, I was on the bridge, but I'm guessing there's a bit of reef off the back of the bridge and I could actually feel it bouncing along the bottom. Yeah, so I was just working it, just hopping it along the bottom. And then, when I'd get a fish or got the fish, I got a couple or 3 like that and, just load up. But I think I lost 8 crabs too. So, yeah.
Ouch. Well, then what leader were you running?
5 pound.
5 pound. Okay. So not crazy heavy.
No, that's pretty much. I had 5 pound on 2 rods and 3 pound on another one, but I didn't use a 3 pound. I used it a couple of times and I hooked a flatty and he stole me crank, so I put another one on him. But it was mostly the aquas and crabs.
Yeah, nice. I like the fact that you put a bit of split shot on to get it down a little bit, and it produced a good result.
Yeah, I was going to put a jig head on, but like I don't fish a lot of pontoons. I don't, the only time I do that is when I go to the Gold Coast. So I'm not the world's greatest caster. So the worm hooks, I have the advantage. If I lob it on the pontoon, I can still pull it off. Whereas if I had a jig out in that, I'd be getting hung up, and it was where the wind was blowing in, so it was a bit hard to control it as well. So, yeah, it just worked for me anyway.
No, very good, very good. And on the Sunday, I think you probably got the second biggest bag. Yeah, you did, with only Simon doing better. So it was a good day.
Yeah. And like I said, I didn't really know what I had. I knew it was better than the day before, but not having the ruler made it hard.
Absolutely. Oh, fortunately, you kept big enough fish that you didn't have to worry too much.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, mate. Last thing before we move off is what sort of rods and reels are you running?
The reels I had on the weekend were all the, TD Blacks, the 24 TD Blacks. They had 2 2500 S's and a 3000. And the rods are custom made. They're also the Samurai Premiums, the 101s and the 302s. So I get them, guy down here in Tassie, Ben at BK Custom Rods, he makes them. So does a few things different for me on them. Like there's lots of good rods about, but Yeah, I run a pretty short butt on him, and I like the 6'8" length rod, 7 foot. That's about the longest I
Okay.
have. And yeah, he just makes them to how I want them. And if there's something I'm not that happy with, I'll get him to swap it out. And yeah,
Yeah. Oh, very good. Very good. All right. That was a good result. So you took out Big Brim, second place. What'd you get to take home?
I got a very nice check for $865. I got Big Brim, which was 250, and I got a Anaconda, yeah, and I got a couple of nice prize packs with a bit of a mixture of lures and that TT, and there was a few hurricanes and yeah, a bit of everything in there, so it was good.
Yeah. And you would have got a trophy, I'd imagine, too.
Yeah, I got a very nice trophy, and I think invite to the AC.
I think you're in. How good's that?
Yeah, so that's awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I'm just got to make sure I can get the time off.
Yeah. Yep. It is a problem. Fair enough. All right, mate. Last thing before we shoot off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Yeah, definitely. I'd Chris from Hobie. Like they run an awesome show and that, and Chris helped me out with. Also, thank Gordon from Sunstate for organising a kayak for me to hire for the weekend, which makes it possible to travel up there. Steersy from Cranker. So Steersy been looking after me. It'd be over 10 years, I reckon, now. So it's been a while. Ben at BK Custom Rods for looking after me with the rods and making them up, and he does an awesome job. And the other one's Tame Marine. Like I'm not sponsored or anything by him, but if I need anything for the kayak or anything at all, they go out of their way to help you out, and yeah, it's awesome.
And they're down in, whereabouts are they?
In Launceston.
In Launceston.
Yeah, they're the Tassie dealer.
Yeah. And I think they're going to be involved in next year's series. So,
Yep.
very, very good. All right, mate. Look, congratulations coming up from Tassie, representing the state and coming in second's a great effort. And yeah, thanks for coming on the show.
All right. Thanks very much for having me.
Thanks, mate. Okay, and finally in first position, we have an angler dropping 1.8 kilos even on the Saturday, backing it up on the Sunday with a big bag for the comp, 3 fish for 2.21 kilos, giving him just over 4 kilos at 4.01. I have Simon Morley. Welcome back to the show, mate.
Thanks, mate. Great to be here.
Mate, you finally cracked the big one on the Gold Coast. You've had great results there for years.
Yeah. I finally managed to put it together and come away with the win. So I was just joking to Britt today, like we only got home about lunchtime today. I said, oh, that's it. We don't have to drive there anymore. I've conquered that round. So
You've done it, mate. And it was a convincing win. Like up there, a 600 gram fish as a kicker, more or less.
Yeah, that's
and,
right.
Mate, 600 grams clear.
Yeah.
So, mate, should have just weighed 5.
Should have weighed 5.
Should have weighed 5, mate.
Yeah, I know. And you only need to weigh 2 of them. I'm like, I'm not taking any chances. I'm putting the whole lot in.
Fair enough. And we'll get into it. But did you have any? You mustn't have had any really big brim. It must have been all about that 600 gram mark across the weekend.
Yeah. So on Saturday, I had 2 about, I think 650 or something like that. I didn't weigh them, and I still had I had a 34 fork, a 32 fork, and a 27 fork. So
yeah, okay.
I was surprised it went 1.8, tell you the truth, but there was one of the better fish was fat, and the other 2 was, so all the weight come out of that better conditioned fish.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, let's double back to pre-fish. Mate, did you get out and have a look around on Friday?
Yeah, I did. So the weather was ordinary. It was raining and wind squalling, and I thought, I'll just take my time. So I didn't get on the water till about 9 o'clock. I know a few of the boys had already shot off in the morning. And, I jumped on. I thought, I'll go around the front of the Wavebreak and just see how bad it is. And as I went around, it was okay. There was a couple of waves rolling around the front. A guy on a hydrofoil with one of those kite things surfing the. So I went out around him, and then as I come around the northern breakwall and Wavebreak, it was starting to rip, and I was like, ooh. So I hugged the wall really tight. Got like a back eddy up towards the big sandbar there, and I shot across, and the dredge was anchored just off the reef. So I managed to get out around him, and it sort of gave me a bit of protection from the wind for a little bit. But once that tide started to pump. I was just got very sporty out there, and I stuck it out for about 2.5 hours, I think. I managed four small fish, and then just as I was about to go, I clunked the 37 fork, and I'm like, okay, there is big fish out here. Well, I know what I'm going to. The other fish are only 26 tippers, and then I clunked this thing, and I was like, wow, hope I get that tomorrow.
100%.
Yeah,
That's a great fish up there.
I was like, it was raining and wind squall, and the waves were standing up out there on the boils, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting out of here. So I just didn't go back around the front. I went back around the other way and paddled up against the wind, and I just to see how long it would take. And yeah, it took about an hour from there. So I was like, okay, I've got a bit of a plan. I know what I'll do, and yeah, just stuck with that. So
yep, went home and rigged up and got ready, dried everything off.
tied some leaders, rigged some crabs up, and yeah.
Very good, very good. All right, Saturday comes around, mate. Tell us about how your day started. You went up around the inside of Wavebreak.
No, so Saturday, because of the predicted winds, they locked out the spit and the front of Wavebreak Island, and so north of Runaway Bay, but they cut it on an angle back to the end of the break wall. The rock wall comes up around from the spit and runs up north, which ruled out another spot that I like to fish further up. So yeah, I just paddled wide, like went the main channel, slugged it up there, and surprisingly got out to the reef, and it was really calm. I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, right. So you must have been in the shadow of the island then.
Oh, well, the hadn't started. Like it was only probably, maybe 7 or 8 knots. It wasn't strong at all. It was really good to fish. And yeah, started, I think, second cast, I got one, about 27 fork, and I was like, okay, that's a start. And
that's good.
Yeah, because I pretty much went to that spot where I got that 37 fork on the reef fish.
As you would.
Just bomb that thing, thinking, the big fish are here. Maybe they're schooling up here in this crack or crevice that's on that reef there. So I fished that pretty hard. Just, what it's like. You go get a fish, you get blown off, you paddle back up, you fish, and then that wind hit about 10 o'clock. I only managed 2 by then, so I had 2 in the well. And as that wind hit, the tide had stopped. And when it stops up there, the fish come off the bottom better. So they were standing up, the fish. And I was like, I remember the other year I was fishing it with Shanahan, and he started catching them on Naughty's Hurricane Sprat on a 1/6 jig head. So I had some, I actually took some with me this time. I had the Sprats, but I actually had the 1/6 jig head. So I already tied on, and I grabbed that and first cast, just threw it out as hard as I could into the wind so I could get down, and just whipping that back and clunk one straight away. I'm like, this is awesome. So that was my third fish in the well. It's only, like I said, there was only another 27 or 28 forks. So it wasn't massive, but I already 27 fork, and I think I had a 32 fork in there. So at least I was cheering. From then the nerves were settled. I'm like, all right, let's just go for it. So I started throwing the Sprat while the tide was slack. I think I got about 5 fish in 5 casts, but they weren't really good. They weren't upgrades. They were only about 25 forkers. So they were still legal, but if you didn't have a bag, you'd been happy, but just needed that better quality fish, and done that. And once the tide started to rip, it just, it got too fast, and you just can't feel the Sprat at all. So I actually had glued some weights to the bottom of the crabs ready for when it stirred right up. But it just made it hard. I had to face north, so facing the tide coming out, but the wind howling north from the southerly made the kayak sit side on, so I had to sort of cast diagonally, that is. But anyway, and it just made it really hard to feel, and even with the weights on it, made it hard. So, but managed to, clonk another fish, another good fish. I think it was about 34 fork on the crab, but didn't come easy. The bloody waves were standing up that bad. Like I said to you before, got sucked onto one of those boils side on, and as I turned to straighten the front of the kayak, it was like a whitewater rafting rapid. Just picked the kayak up and just buried the nose of the kayak over the front hatch I was in the outback, and the whole front hatch was underwater, and I was going down. I'm like, just leant, freaked out, and luckily it just popped back out, and I'm like, getting out of here, and I just shot over to the side and regathered. Ooh, that was close. Would have lost all my stuff if I got rolled out there, and probably would have ended up out the seaway pretty quick.
100%, 100%. And one question on that, mate. When you put your fish in the well, do you screw the hatch shut?
I did, yeah, 100%. I thought, oh, if I go over, at least I'll keep my fish. So I actually screwed the hatch shut. I would have lost everything else though, because I don't tie them down. They were just standing up on the rod holders. Yeah, that one spooked me a bit, and I'm looking at the clock, and I'm like, oh, got an hour and a half. I'm just going to call it and paddle back against that wind. So I just, after that, I thought, oh, okay, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good bag. It was a good bag. But look, for someone who hasn't fished the reef up there, what sort of depth were you fishing on the weekend?
So preliminarily, there is like depths of about 4.5 meters, but the areas mainly like the fish go from 5 down to about 7 or 8 meters, and there's a few deep holes on there. I think one of the holes is over 13.5 meters. Preliminarily, yeah, it's about that 5 to 8 or 5 to 9 meter mark that you're trying to get a crab down to. So normally I don't weight them. Normally it's enough you can fish them and feel them without the weights, but this weekend you could, not with that wind and tide like how it was. It just, made it impossible. I did catch it first though. I actually caught a stonefish on Saturday.
Oh, that's a bit scary.
Yeah. It just, like the crab got stuck. I thought it was snagged, and I'm like, oh, paddle over it to, get it off the reef, and it come out. And I was like, oh, I've got it. I thought I'd just ripped a bit of reef off. It's like winding a rock. And then it kicked, and I was like, oh, this is weird. And I get it up. I look at it, and I'm like, you're joking. I netted it, legs outside the kayak, hanging the kayak, and luckily the crab was just lipped, and I was just like long pliers, flicked it out, and then took a photo, like for evidence, and then out of the kayak.
Threw it back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
I caught some, I think it was like an estuary cod, some black and white with black spots. So I caught a few different fish on Saturday, which made it interesting. The stonefish, that estuary cod, what's that perch called with the spot on it? Looks like a
Moses perch.
perch. Yeah, I caught a Moses.
Yeah, okay.
And the worst thing on Saturday is the tar one were there as well. So I was like, you get a good fish. Well, this is a nice one, and you get it up, and the old tar shows up, and they were actually good size. They were all 30 forkers, and plus the tar one I was catching. I think I got 3 or 4 of them. They were just heartbreaking when you get on. Damn it!
Absolutely, because they look like a brim all the way
All
up.
the way.
Pretty much put them in the net. You go, oh.
Get in the net. Oh, it's got a bloody blunt nose on it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. One question with the crabs. That's pretty deep water. How do you manage to get that thing down normally?
So I'll try and cast as far as I can, let a bit of line out, and obviously I just drift back with the tide, let the tide drift back, and hopefully the crab's fallen. If I'm going really fast, I'll let line out as I'm drifting back so the crab's not getting dragged with me. And then just a game of, feeling it. If you can feel it on the bottom, you're sweet. As soon as it stopped feeling it, it's either fallen into a hole, presume it's fallen into another hole. So I try and let a bit of line out so it can drop naturally into the hole. The only part is you end up with like 30 or 40 metres of line out, and if you get a bite and he's in that hole, you're 30, 40 metres away. There's a massive chance he's going to rub you off on the reef before you even get him out. So that at times it's just, luck of the draw, I think. It's pretty hard when you hook up. It's pretty hard to sprint back up against that tide to get over the edge of the reef. So a lot of the time, like Saturday, I had a good fish on, and I thought I was in the clear. I'm like, yep, sweet, it's up, middle of nowhere, no worries. Next minute, just buried. It's like, what? And I could feel it there the whole time, and my line was just rubbing on the reef. It must have just been under a little ledge, and it's just like, tink. So
yep, tide on again, and off you go.
Yeah, it's not easy to fish, but I don't know. Like I said, I've fished it that many times. I've worked it out. I think I worked it out anyway, and it paid off this year. So it was actually really good.
Absolutely. No, it's a tricky one to fish with high current, wind coming from all different directions, and if there's no wind and it's sunny, then you got to deal with all the on water traffic.
Yeah, that's right. All the big rich people in their massive boats that like to come right next to you just to prove their point. But got a good that the weather was crap up there just because it kept so much boat traffic away. The only thing brought out were the kite surfers, those hydrofoil guys who like to come near you as well.
Yeah, fair enough.
Windsurfers, but that's all right. It's not it's not a boat coming straight at you, so it was okay. Yeah.
100%. 100%. All right. Look, you ended up with 1.8, which was obviously a great bag, and 1.8 is always competitive up there.
Yes. To be in the lead after day one, like I weighed early and then I just went and started washing my stuff off and packing up. And the boys come up, they're, oh, you're still in the lead. I'm like, serious? No way. And they're like, yeah. I was like, yeah. So I was wrapped being in the lead on day one, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's it. Like 1.8, it's competitive, but you would expect there to be a couple of 2 kilos.
Yeah, I thought there would have been for sure. That many guys heading up the Nerang into the canals up there. I thought someone would have cracked 2 kilos on day one, but not to be.
Definitely. You would have thought Gammy would have got there.
Yeah, I know. I think the Goldie's his worst enemy at the moment.
It probably, I mean, he was close. He ended up in 5th or 6th, so
yeah,
it's still a pretty decent effort.
He definitely knows how to structure fish and fish canals and that, so he's good at it. He just didn't get the right bites this year, that's all.
That's right. All right, Sunday, mate. You end up with a great bag. Tell us how your day was.
Yeah, so like I said, Saturday arvo, dug back through the tackle I brought up, found some more weights, got the ball peen hammer out and moulded them a bit better, pinched some glue off Naughty's glue off the Hobie guys, and yeah, so I made heaps of weighted crabs up. Same thing, shot up to the reef first thing. The big dredge that was there, the dredge that's been replenishing the Gold Coast beach, he's obviously in there because the weather was horrible outside. He'd moved across, so all my marks I had, like I was just taking marks off the side of the dredge where I was fishing, and he moved for the good. He moved further south a bit, but right in line with the reef, so didn't have to worry about any boat traffic at all because they had to go around the dredge. So had it themselves. It was perfect. It was only me and Lex Irwin there again on Sunday, which was good. Yeah, and same thing, like the tide was a little bit faster because the incoming tide still had a couple of hours to go. Went back to that same spot where I hooked that good fish on pre-fish, first cast, 27 fork. I'm like, oh, it's game. Yeah, perfect, sweet. One in the well, let's go. Probably over an hour before I hooked another fish.
Oh.
Yeah, I got it, but it was a good fish. It was about 32 fork again, I think, or 33 fork. It was actually a nice one. I'm like, okay, one more, come on. Yeah, and same thing. I think it was 9 o'clock. I hooked my third fish. It was only another 27 forker. And I was like, yeah, beauty. They're on here. I can just relax now. All I got to do is get it's just upgrade for the day. And I kid you not, I paddled up. I had another mark a little to the side that I hadn't fished the whole weekend. I'm like, I'll go suss that out. And as I paddled over it, they were just lit up. And I'm like, okay, untouched fish, let's go. Very next cast, a 34 fork. I was like, this is on, this is perfect. So I had a 32 fork, a 34 fork in the well. Yeah, and then that was about 9:15. So I was cheering. Had the rest of the day, and like I said, I was telling you before, just they were short striking the crab. Had that many fish load up that felt really good. Get them halfway up the water column, and they just fall off. It was like, oh man, come on! I just want to get rid just that small fish. Just wanted to get rid of it. Yeah, and finally cracked a 35 fork, which was really good. Got that one about maybe 10:45. So with having the time shortened, I had to leave at about 11:30 due to the wind forecast and that. Chris shortened the time, so which is okay. I didn't put any pressure on myself for it. I was like, yeah, let's just go fishing. It is what it is. Everyone's in the same boat. He still go to the reef, which was good because there was talk that he was just going to cut it and send everyone south down the Nerang. So
yeah, that would have been different.
Go that way and be able to fish the reef. Yeah, so it still wasn't easy. Like once that wind come up again, it come up a bit earlier this time on Sunday. On Saturday, it come up about 10 o'clock. It was about 9 o'clock on Sunday, but it wasn't as strong until about 10:30, and then it started to get sporty again out there. Lex he'd give me the whistle, he's out, he's gone. So I had about half to sit out there by myself, and just try and get that. I was just looking for that one more big bite. I just wanted to crack that 37 fork again. And yeah, but it just didn't happen. And like I had 3 fish in the well over 30 forks, so I was pretty happy with that. And just with that wind forecast, Chris come back around and seen me, and he's like, "Oh, the forecast has changed. Just keep an eye on your time." And I said, "Oh, I've got an alarm set. It'll be sweet." And while I was there, I said, "While you're there, just drive forward, straight ahead, and then go in. And you'll see what I'm fishing." And he drove over the thing and looked back at me like, and I'm like, "Yeah, they're in there. It's just trying to get it."
Yeah, that's crazy. That's great. And did you get any on the Sprat on the Sunday?
It was really weird. It didn't seem like it calmed down. Like, you get that tide change, you might get half an hour where it stops out. On Sunday, it just didn't happen. I tried the Sprat a few times, but couldn't get it to, I couldn't feel it. It just kept rolling and rolling and rolling. Yeah, it made it a bit hard. I actually got some new rods off Rick Massey from Duro Tackle, the St. Croix rods. He looks after me with that. Like, I had one in the range that I'd fished at the Georges with the crab, and it just felt so good. So it's a avid panfish in 6'9", 4 to 12, but it's a solid base, but the tip is just perfect for feeling the bite with the crab. And that's what I mean at the Georges. He goes, you got to find a rod that you can pull the crab out of structure, but you can also feel the bite. So when I used that rod at the Georges, I'm like, all right, I need some more of these. So yeah, Rick was cool enough to send me up a couple for the Gold Coast, and yeah, I had 3 of those rods rigged with 3 crabs, just so if I got busted or ripped a claw off, I can just pick the next rod up and go again. So Rick to do that for me, and it paid off. It was unreal. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, like you said, being able to feel the bite, particularly in a situation like that where it's just such deep water, there's a lot going on, and potentially, you might have 20, 30, 40 metres of line out at different times.
Yeah, that's right. Without that sensitive tip, there's no feel a bite out there. Like, the crabs bounce along the bottom and you're just waiting for that. Well, it's either you think it's a bite or it's a snag. So you're like, that's a bite, load up, hopefully it's a fish.
Yeah, or it's a snag and start paddling towards it.
Yeah, or it's a snag. And yeah, the reef's not that gnarly. Like, you can paddle over it and pull it off as long as your line hasn't wrapped around. There's like little, what it's like. It's got little sharp bits right on top of the reef.
That's right.
Your line doesn't go on that. You can normally get it off. So, yeah, but definitely helped me to, take the win. That's for sure.
100%. 100%. What sort of lines and leaders did you run for the comp?
So I was running 7 pound, that Daiwa X-Link. I just find that leader works really well. And I think I'm still running the old 08 Dragon in 15 pound in the 8 carrier on that reel. It was on the old Luvius, old Daiwa Luvius.
Very good. All right, mate. I reckon that's a great story. Cracking round, back it up with a 2 kilo bag on the Sunday was pretty awesome. What did you get to take home for first place?
Was $14.50. Massive, like round of 50 people. So I'm still happy with that. $14.50, paid for my full weekend up there, accommodation and everything. So
that's right.
Yeah, $14.50 and a bag of goodies, lures and hats and some Burley Pro like jig head tray that screws on the side of the kayak. I don't have one of them, so it's definitely going on the kayak.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Did I see you take another rod with you?
Yeah. So I got another St. Croix rod to add to the collection. Thank you, Rick.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, the boys yelling out, "You don't need another one." I'm like, "I'll."
Yeah, yes, I do.
Yes, I do. That's right.
That's it. All right. Well, then, look, last thing before we shoot off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Yeah, obviously my wife for letting me do these tournaments for sure. Yeah, Peter Nord from Hurricane Lures, he's been looking after me for a while now, and Rick Massey from Duro, who took me on with St. Croix rods. Thanks very much, guys. Appreciate it. And obviously Chris, Daryl and Brad, the guys from Hobie, and the guys from Totally Immersed who helped me out with all my kayak gear. So thanks very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Very good. Very good. All right, mate. That is awesome, mate. Congratulations on the win. I'll see you at the next one.
Yep. Can't wait. See you there, mate. Thank you.
See you, mate. Okay. So there it is. Simon coming out on top, fishing the reef as he pretty much always does, but really challenging conditions. But he worked it out, got the big bites, and brought home the biggies. Very, very good to see. He's been competitive for so long up there from the same spot. It feels like it just all came in, and he was able to take the win. How good's that? All right, and I want to remind you that the collective is available to you, people that want a little bit more. At the moment, in addition to the monthly challenges and group chats and Zoom meetings and what have you, I am trying to release as many episodes into that as I can. We've already got a couple up there playing now, a couple of exclusive ones at the moment, and eventually they will be released to the public as they are due out. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next week on the Bream Fishing Project.
Thanks for listening. Hopefully you were informed, inspired and entertained. If you were able to learn something or just enjoyed listening, please consider subscribing and rate us on your favourite podcasting platform.